And there we go. Whew, that was pretty surprising. Hey, okay, we are in, and this game is about to start. Sorry if I seem a little bit flustered. Something kind of silly happened, but I'm not going to waste time on it because this game is just about to start. And these two teams, we do have Primal and Sticky Rice about to play on the fan favorite map, Hollywood. Sticky Rice is on defense, not going with a Symmetra. Very surprising. It's very common for teams to run Symmetra on this point. But instead, we are going with a Zenyatta, which I want to see because I love seeing competitive Zenyatas. They're a little bit uncommon, though he is he's something of like a sniping healer. It's kind of cool. I like him a lot. And here we go, first push in. Very little resistance due to the lack of Symmetra turrets, and Primal is choosing to flank around the back alleyway. Pretty standard movement in for them, hanging around this area. And for the most part, both teams are really just kind of throwing spam at each other. No real pushes as of yet. I see when it comes to healing, there is more healing going on the defensive side. The offense choosing to go with a single Lucio, so there will be no revives. And here we do have the first push right onto the main point. Is that a Mei? This is a fascinating team setup here. I see Mei going up in the front, able to get a wall up just in time. That wall is not going to do anything against Lickitung playing Pharah, and they're going to sweep in. Is there any defenders? It looks like the defenders were mostly wiped. Are not going to be able to get in there in time to block this capture. And it looks like they are giving the capture up, and they're going to hide mainly the bag. Zenyatta, like I said, he's really a snipe healer in a way. Though we have heard evidence that Overwatch is coming out with a new hero, possibly going to be a healer sniper of a more traditional sense, but that is all hearsay, so we have no actual idea if that's going to happen. Payload is on and moving through this checkpoint. Looks like Sticky Rice has decided to hang up here in the windows. Zenyatta taking advantage of getting to hide behind Reinhardt's shield, and look at the damage that Zenyatta is managing to get out despite being a support class. And here we go. Oh my gosh, that ulting Genji had no chance against Zenyatta. He is playing Zenyatta very well, but because of the fact that they are hiding on the rooftop and fighting Gojiro on the rooftop, the payload is effortlessly moving through this checkpoint. And I do see when it comes to ultimate advantage, I'd say it would be going on Primal at the moment, as 4 of them have their ultimates ready, in contrast to only 1 for Sticky Rice, which is not an offensive ultimate. Khan managing to defeat Gojiro the Winston with only a few hit points, and here we do have the ult going out for Sticky Rice. Not a lot of teammates available to take advantage of it, however, though there is Johnster playing as Winston, who is going to go ultimate and get some melee damage in there and survive to fight another day. Winston is very good at blocking point caps of that nature, and his team is moving in to assist. See Reinhardt's and Lucio's, so they are... Oh, Sworddos is ready with his ultimate. We're going to see if he decides to pull that off, though there aren't that many targets for him at the moment. Looks like they are content with staying on the payload for the time being. And Primal is mostly hanging back, regrouping, maybe waiting for a few teammates to respawn. This is kind of a difficult spot for the offense, all things considered, because the payload is very close to the final checkpoint, but it's not there yet, so they don't have forward spawn at the moment. And Swordshire did pop his ult, caused some damage. I don't think he was able to get any kills off of it, or if he did, they were able to recover very quickly. Let's see how Sticky Rice's Zenyatta is doing. Just getting those orbs out there. There's a barrier currently in the way. It looks like he's healing his team at the same time. That Discord orb, it can do a very good job of highlighting certain characters and saying, yeah, that person right there needs to die right now. So Sticky Rice has his ultimate ready again. I'm very surprised with the success they're having with Zenyatta on this map. I think other teams might reconsider using it if they had to fight Sticky Rice's team. We see that Mei has switched to Soldier 76. And for the most part, there are 3 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. The payload is moving backwards, and it has a chair embedded in it, like all good limousines. And there is the ultimate going out for Sticky Rice, giving his team massive health regen for this firefight. And Primal, for the most part, is going to counter with Heisen's playing Zarya, thank you, sorry. Ultimate, getting a couple kills. Crash sweeping up a couple of kills right there, and they do regain territorial control of the payload, which does have a tendency to happen when the payload rolls all the way back to the starting checkpoint almost. But they actually did manage to get a lot of kills in that regard. Can I find somebody who's not respawning, please? And is that... Khan is flanking around the back and is going to finish off the enemy Mercy. Going for the Lucio, trying to... No, is not able to get Lucio. Primal is going to continue getting heals for these next few fights. Thrakon having to deal with the Discord Orb from Zenyatta, and a number of opponents on him is able to eventually fall. I see that Lickitung is also down. Is anybody up for Primal? No, they are mostly respawning and pushing back in for another attempt. Let's see, both healers trying to get in there, don't feel comfortable doing so, possibly overextended, but was able to get Mercy and Gojiro out alive, so not really an overextend in that regard, but it wasn't a very successful push by the two lone support classes, and these two teams fighting to something of a standstill here in the western area. And here we go, we do have the upcoming push from Primal, being led by Lickitung with some rocket barrage. Don't know if she was able to hit anybody because most of the opposing team was over there, that they did finish off Zenyatta. Probably a good kill for that, considering the amount of damage he's been managing to get out. Lucio is alive and has his sound barrier ready. He's the only ultimate, just kidding, he's the only ultimate not counting Heisen, whose ultimate is ready to go. Not sure if she's going to cast that at the moment, as her team is looking like they pretty much have control of the point, Discord Orb aside. I'd say that Discord Orb has been doing a pretty good job of singling out specific opponents and killing them off. But the payload is going to reach the first checkpoint, and now they have 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Pretty healthy amount of time to get into that final control point area. And since then, a number of other ultimates have been prepared, but I'd say the most interesting one is still Zarya's Gravity Well. But not going to use it right now. Sticky Rice giving his team a bunch of health regen during his ultimate, but is going to die immediately after that. Looks like Primal is sticking onto the cart because they want it to move as fast. No, they are going to move forward and try to kind of break through the defense. Don't know if they forgot that they need to push the cart at the same time, because the thing about right now is that every single time a defender dies, within a few seconds he's going to respawn and it'll be right there. So there really needs to be more of an emphasis on pushing the cart. At the moment we do have Lucio's sound barrier being put out by Gojiro to give his team something of an advantage in this upcoming fight, and Lickitung is not going to get to finish that ultimate off due to Zenyatta's extreme ability to focus fire specific opponents and eliminate them. But for the time being, he seems to be trying to spam Reinhardt's shield down and is having less than success in that regard due to the bulkiness of Reinhardt's shield. The teammates are being healed by Gojiro. Mercy appears to be respawning, so Lucio's reduced healing is all that's happening for this offensive team at the moment, and it does look like they are going to retreat backwards a little bit. I did just see an ult go out by Sticky Rice's Reinhardt, played by Jerazaya. It's going to push forward. What do we have? Sticky Rice already with another ultimate. Zenyatta is just getting these ultimates so quickly, and they really, I believe they heal I believe they heal teammates at something like 100 HP a second or something ludicrous that can keep everybody alive. But it does not last for particularly long, so it's just a little bit of a free heal for a few seconds to full health. And he has managed to get the Discord Orb down, which does give him very limited wall hack on that one specific opponent. Said opponent being Thrakon, who is safe and healthy behind his shield with Mercy and Lucio healing him. See, Heisen is pushing in. Primal has two ultimates ready, both of them support-based, and the first one is going to go down right now. Both Lucios almost simultaneously popping their sound barriers. Not sure if Sticky Rice and Big Man Weeds should have popped those at the same time. There's very little reason for a sound barrier when you're regenerating from Zenyatta to the degree that you are, and I do see Heisen and Lickitung comboing that Pharah and Zarya ult, and it does not really work out for them. I think there was too much healing going on from the opposing team. Only Crash, for the moment, managing to get out with his life, but it is a short-lived life. And the defense is fully respawned, grouped, and on the payload, which is moving backwards, and there are 26 seconds left on the clock. Primal is definitely going to need to push in there and be a little bit more aggressive, and to that extent I see them pushing the cart, and I guess it's unfair to say that they have not been aggressive. They have certainly been pushing this cart as hard as they possibly can, but the defense has just proven to be a little bit too strong for the time being. But until the game is over, there is still chance. 6 seconds left on the clock, and they are dangerously far away from the control point. Thrakon is down. Sticky Rice with another ultimate to give his team a bunch of health regen, and I see Gojiro flanking around the back, trying to get to that payload and keep it up, and the payload is in territorial control of the offense at the moment. It is come to a sudden stop. Both teams trying to get in there, and Zarya with an ultimate to push the opposing teams back. She is going to die for her efforts, but she is going to give her teammates a chance to get onto that payload, but the defense is respawning so quickly. A sound barrier from Lucio, played by Gojiro, giving Primal another chance to push, and that payload is getting closer to the checkpoint, but Jerizaya is back and respawned. Swordshire is out. Are there any interesting ultimates? Nobody. Everybody seems to have, for the most part, popped their ultimates with the percentage advantage going to defense, but none of them have Uber close enough that I'd say, or ultimate close enough, and oh, that is... I'm genuinely surprised. Primal was able to push all the way in there. They must have just gotten a number of really good kills right at the end there. I was watching the card the entire time, and I never really saw the defense let up, but they must have. And that is game. Again, I'm really surprised at how that defense kind of crumbled. I didn't really see any real holes. They must have just been out deathmatched right at the end there. And special mention to Sticky Rice as Zenyatta. He played that class incredibly well, doing a very good job of keeping his teammates healed, keeping his opponents debuffed, and getting a lot of long-range damage with those orbs of his. And I saw somebody mentioned in the chat the length of time. Something that I was going to start doing was keeping track on my phone of how long it takes somebody to push through. So according to Big Man Weeds, that cart was pushed in 10 minutes and 49 seconds. So we are going to see how the opposing team does it, and I'm going to bust out my phone and keep track of time with Big Man Weeds, because it can never hurt to get a second opinion. And let's look at the teams for the time being. Sticky Rice is going to get their chance to push the cart, not going for Zenyatta this... No, they are. Sticky Rice is remaining on Zenyatta, so we're going to get to see some exciting offensive Zenyatta. And... trying to get the timer app out on my phone. Let's look at what's going on. We have 2 supports, 3 supports, no, there we go. One of them, Thrakon switched. We have 2 tanks, 2 support, and 2 offense. Pretty standard set up for there. "24 seconds. I can get this timer set up in that point, right? I mean, come on, how hard can it be to use the default timer app on a phone? It's going to be really easy, right? The options I have to choose from are alarms, sleep timer, weather, display, and advanced. I can't for the life of me wonder what any of those mean. Yeah, it's not happening. I'll have this ready in time for the next game. It's up to Big Man Weeds to keep track of times, and hopefully he is up to it, and the teammates are pushing through. I see that we are sticking with a Zenyatta. For the most part, most of the teammates are the same. I see that there is a Tracer on the field now, getting some sentries down. Those sentries, moderately effective. Oh, wow. Just kidding. Very effective. Gojiro already at 71%. That teleporter is going to be up very soon. Roadhog not interested in Tracer fooling around in the back there. Just wanted to eliminate her immediately. The rest of Tracer's team is hanging surprisingly far back. Sword Desire managing to survive a Roadhog tag. Because of those unmentioned complications before the match started, I haven't really noticed the usernames probably as well as I should have, though I do see that Sticky Rice as Zenyatta. Trying to get in there with some orbs. and I'd say doing a pretty good job. One of the other advantages is Zenyatta's self-heal. Most of his health is shield, and in this game, any blue health, those are referred to as shields, and they regenerate on their own. So there we go. Sticky Rice getting in there, going to have ultimate almost immediately, and is going to pop it, but so many of his teammates were killed in that push. I do not think that was a very successful use of Zenyatta's ultimate in that particular moment. Maybe a millisecond earlier when 3 of the teammates were alive, but he was able to get it really quickly, and I see that for the most part that push is going to happen immediately, not giving the defense time to regroup and figure out what's going on. The teleporter was destroyed, so Gojiro is going to have to build a new one. Either it was destroyed or it ran out of uses. Both are possible. Either way, there is no teleporter on the match right now. I see sound barrier by Big Man Weeds playing the Golden Frog Man Lucio, my personal favorite skin for that character. Jereziah staying on. Looks like only Sticky Rice has a chance at getting out of this alive. Get some damage down on the opposing Pharah. He is doing a pretty... Because I've seen Pharah having some difficulty this match, and I believe Zenyatta is single-handedly responsible for that. Because Pharah normally gets to hang in the air, which is difficult for a lot of characters to target, but Zenyatta can so easily target an aerial character like this. And we do have a bunch of teammates moving in. It looks like Gojiro is giving up on Symmetra and switching to Lucio, so no more teleporters. But it also might have just happened because they lost the first point, and Sticky Rice is now going to be pushing their payload through the map, making very good time. 5 minutes and 11 seconds remaining on that clock, and that payload is going to push through there. The ultimate advantage also going to the offensive team, having 3 of their ults ready, as opposed to Primal, who does not have any ultimates ready, and we are having a little bit of a Winston fight here on this rooftop. And Pharah is going to decide, no, I don't want to fight on this rooftop anymore. Please step back down, good sir. Primal, for the most part, hanging out in the rafters. Let's see how Zenyatta is doing. Zenyatta is a pretty good class to fight individuals on the rooftop due to his orbs. And getting a lot of damage, but not enough to get any real kills. For the most part, that was a defensive victory. They have managed to push the opponents off the Rhine cart, and it is going to probably start pushing back relatively soon. And here we go. Sticky Rice, temporarily blanked on the name, is pushing back in, immediately able to regain control of that cart. Pretty much, for the most part, Primal decided, hey, we pushed him off the cart, but we're not in a very good position here, so let's hang back. I almost wonder if they're a little too split up. I see members of both teams everywhere just engaging in these tiny little 1v1s, and the only one that really matters is Big Man Weeds, pushing the cart, stopping to assist his teammates a little bit, not doing that much. I don't know if anyone is here to stop this push, and this push is really going to happen because Big Man Weeds just camped himself on the cart and kept moving it forward, and that is going to be the capture. I just saw something very unfortunate happen to Cliffs playing Mercy. I think she was trying to push in there and got ambushed by the opponents, but her teammates are up and ready. I see Lickitung does have that Pharah ult prepared, though is not really in a position to get a lot of kills with it. Probably waiting... I was going to say waiting for the Zarya tag ult, but there is no Zarya on her team. So it'll be interesting to see how this ultimate manages to get done, because it usually works best when comboed with pinning ults. Though Thrakon's is an example of that. Reinhardt's was demonstrated on the opposing team, getting a bunch of kills by Sword Desire. Very good ultimate right there, and the payload is going to continue pushing through this little checkpoint. And the defense is respawning. They will definitely be up and ready to block this. I see Sticky Rice getting a lot of orbs in there, safe behind his Reinhardt shield, though his opponents are also safe behind the Reinhardt shield. And here we go. Justice is going to rain from above, is going to be mostly, if not entirely... Nope, Jereziah was down, but the remaining teammates were saved due to that clutch Zenyatta ultimate, healing them so quickly. And here we do have the push in there. The defense relatively solid. That was a ultimate by Thrakon to down what few offenders were remaining on the point, and they're going to push back. I see that Khan is in the air playing as Faria. Might flank around. Might just stick near the team, but neither team really being big on the flanks. Haven't really noticed anybody flanking anywhere, because there's a little bit of nonsense with Tracer at the beginning, but now that John Joster, that's either an H or an N. Now that Joster is hanging with his team, both teams are pretty much, for the most part, just throwing bodies onto the cart one way or another, and a massive revive on the point of Kifs playing Mercy, the only Mercy on the field, meaning that only one team is going to be able to revive to that extent, which changes the dynamics significantly. But there are so many red players on the card right now. Thrakon doing what he can, staying long enough for Gojiro to get in there, but can Gojiro stay alive long enough to keep some other teammates onto the card? Yes, he is. A bunch of defense on the card right now, but the offense is getting healed by Sticky Rice, and Mercy is down for the defense, and that is an almost complete defensive wipe. The offense was able to push the cart in, and if Big Ben Weeds was keeping track of the time, we'll be able to know which team was faster, and if not, it just teaches me that I need to start keeping track of that myself, and I will for the next game. I hope to see I hope to see more Zenyatta play. I have a feeling Sticky Rice is going to keep playing Zenyatta on King's Row, but whether he does or not, we will find out. And there we go. There's my stopwatch. I am ready. Bring on the next game. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, same teams as last time. Primal versus Sticky Rice on the fan favorite King's Row. Second only to Hollywood in how often it is played. I think it's popular due to its hybrid nature. The teams having to capture a control point before the payload section starts. I noticed that maps entirely of just payload, like Dorado and Watchpoint Gibraltar, not played as frequently. But anyway, let me run through the teams. I did not run through the teams last game. On defense, at the moment, we have Sticky Rice, Khan, Sticky Rice himself, Sword Desire, Johnster, Big Man Weeds, and Jereziah. On offense, we have Kifs, Thrakon, Hyzen, Gojiro, Crash, and Lickitung. Going to be taking this side corridor, probably shifting through the alleyways due to the fact that there is a pseudo-sniper on the team. Zenyatta probably would not normally be classified as a sniper, but his orbs do deal a lot of damage regardless of where the opponent is on the map, so long as he has line of sight. And here we go, getting those orbs out Primal, for the most part, getting to pretty easily push into the statue area. And both teams pretty much just trading spam at the moment. Nobody really pushing into the cart. I see Crash wants to push into the cart. Reaper is choosing to stick with his team, not flanking around to the buildings, though if he did, he might be able to get that Junkrat up in the corner. I love watching Junkrat on defense. I love watching Junkrat in general. And Junkrat is still alive. Both teams still alive from what I can tell. When it comes to healing, one team has a Mercy and the other team has a Lucio and a Zenyatta. So interesting health setup here. And it looks like that is a very fast capture for Primal, already into the payload section of the map. And we are going to see a couple of players push forward in preparation for this. The Zarya and the Reinhardt trying to kind of tank it with their HP, not dealing so much damage as they are preventing the enemy from pushing forward and stopping the payload. So the payload is going to effortlessly push past Moriarty's fine bookshop and into this little elbow curve right here. The defense, for their part, pretty content with letting the payload push forward in lieu of blocking this particular area. And let's see, there are a lot of ultimates ready. I see that Zarya and Pharah's are both ready. Justice is going to rain from above, and here we go. Lickitung, oh, you know what's interesting? Because of that, I saw that Hyzen did drop her ultimate, and one of Primal's favorite tricks is for Zarya to pop her ultimate, and then for Pharah to come in and sweep all those kills while they can't dodge. But they were not able to do that because of the opposing Pharah, being played by Khan, getting a kill too quickly. However, they definitely still retain territorial control of the map, and that payload is speeding ever so quickly to the final checkpoint. I'm not sure if this setup is working for Sticky Rice, Sticky Rice's team, though I think the Zarya himself is getting a lot of damage done, finishing off that Roadhog far quicker than Roadhog's full HP bar would imply possible. And Lickitung desperately trying to escape for her life. I see that Crash has his ultimate prepared, but is he really in a position to use it for the most part? Oh dear. Sorry, Reaper. Death comes. Where did the camera take me? Here we go. Pushing in this little elbow joint was the payload. The payload was not successfully captured, so the payload is rolling backwards, sadly but surely, and forward spawns have not been obtained for Team Primal, which is probably hurting them at the moment, because every time somebody dies like this Zarya, who just missed the Mercy ult revive, and that was ultimate by Crash, putting out that Death Lotus, getting a couple kills, but it was almost completely countered by Jeraziah, killing off both of Reaper's teammates and then Reaper himself. So the payload is going to continue rolling backwards, but there are still 4 minutes on the clock for Primal to push that cart forward. And here we go, going to be pushing into this alleyway. See that Gojiro has moved on, so there is now 2 different forms of healing for Primal. We're going to be keeping teammates a little bit more topped up because they're going to need it. This is a very, very solid defense with a lot of different ultimates ready. And when they do end up pushing, they're going to have to deal with a Zenyatta who is prepared to pop his ultimate and heal his teammates at an insane rate to keep everybody alive. Though notably, you know, there is no Mercy on their team because so they will not be able to revive like Kifs just did for Primal. So every kill they can get on the defense is final, but are they able to get any kills? I see Sword Desire as Reaper is down, but that is not nearly enough of a trade for the amount of wipe that basically just went out for the defense. And the defense, oh my gosh, has such an uber advantage. I see that, I keep calling them Ubers because I used to play TF2, but every single member of the team except Jeraziah, who's very close, has their ultimate ready. So they're pretty much ready to trade a couple ultimates for a free wipe and then some. And there we go. Every single member of the opposing team has their ultimate prepared. Big Man Weeds with the ultimate to give his team a sound barrier. And oh my gosh, look at these kills coming out. Sticky Rice not able to keep his teammates alive. And Johnster is going to go in with the Winston ultimate, get a little bit of damage, and that was so many ultimates, and they're not even over yet. A few teammates still have it, and I see that Sword Desire is trying to sneak down there through, grab a health kit, and some Reaper on Reaper combat, and one Reaper was being boosted by a Mercy, so he is going to win that fight. But time is running out. At 1 minute 56 seconds, they are under the 2-minute mark, which is more than enough time for the distance on the payload. The payload is very close to the final checkpoint, but I think that for the most part they've been losing too many of these pushes, though that very spectacular ultimate by Crash is definitely going to help in that regard. The defense has almost entirely been wiped. I do see that Sword Desire has his ultimate ready. Looks like he's ready to push in. One way or another, the payload has been captured, so whatever he chooses to do next, I have a feeling he's going to go in there and ultimate as soon as his team gives him enough of a distraction. But we will see. Here we go, the ultimate for Sword Desire, eliminating Lickitung, but for the most part was blocked. I want to say that that was a Zarya shield that saved whoever was on her team at that time. And we do have an ultimate from Mercy, bringing her team back to life, but not in a very good position. So they are going to mostly get wiped from that, though they did manage to bring themselves more time, and they are going to remain on the payload, pushing it forward. I see Johnster has returned to Tracer. No more Winston, so more DPS, less HP. Interesting. I'm genuinely interested to see if this works out. For her part, Tracer is doing a pretty good job of heckling the opposing teammates, but they are all going to get up. A sound barrier and a Zarya experience Tranquility going out at the same time. Khan mostly countered by Reinhardt's shield there. For the most part, both teams are doing a pretty good job of blocking each other's damage, keeping people alive, which means that for the most part, the payload is just inching closer and closer. Johnster going in there with a pulse bomb and getting a kill on that. And really, this is quite a spam fest right here on the payload. And Lickitung being countered by Sticky Rice. Zenyatta doing a very good job of shooting these Pharahs out of the sky. I think Primal is used to having more aerial superiority than they have right now. And when it comes to ultimates, I see that there are some support ultimates ready, and also a Zarya ult. And as is Ryan, Reaper is ready with his ultimate. He's going to push in there. I don't really see an opportunity for Crash to really get in there with that ultimate. And even if he does, Sticky Rice is already prepared to pop his second ultimate, and he does just in time. He managed to pop that right before being hit by the Earthshake. So very lucky pop right there. That could have been a lot worse. For what it was, they really were able to hold quite well. Lickitung is out, still not able to escape those long-range Zenyatta orbs, and they're going to push in extremely far, practically spawn camping at this point, and they are going to pay for that. I might say that their team overextended a little bit. Primal getting a lot of kills and pushing in there, though one of the advantages of overextending on defense, especially the very end of the map like this, is that they're going to respawn and almost immediately march back onto the field. So the payload was able to make all of its time back, but is not going to make it to the end, though it is going to be close. There are only 27 seconds left, and I see a bunch of damage coming out from a bunch of different people. Lickitung desperately trying to not die to this Zenyatta because she's got her ultimate ready. But I just don't think that Pharah is working, and there she is. Lickitung is down. Zenyatta trying to get enough damage out that he can get his ultimate ready, but he is not able to. And with very little time left on the clock, Primal is able to push in and capture the time. According to Big Man Weeds, that was 9 minutes and 55 seconds. I should have been keeping track of that, but I forgot to. So I have my timer ready, and we will do that this time.
Heroes never die. For a price.
I remember that ultimate. It was a good ultimate. You could see she was trying to hold on as long as possible because Zarya was still alive, but Zarya did not die fast enough and did miss the mass revive, which is why it was a 4-man revive and not a 5. That is just what happens. We will be seeing King's Row again. Both teams are going to be switching this time. Sticky Rice is going to be pushing the payload and capturing the control point, and Primal will be on defense attempting to stop them. Sticky Rice wasting no time and immediately grabbing Zenyatta. I have a feeling Sticky Rice mains Zenyatta. I don't know for sure, but I do see that on 2 very different maps, offense and defense, he has elected to entirely play Zenyatta. So it's a possibility. The rest of his team is going with 2 offense, 2 tank, and 1 more support. That support being Lucio. I see that Johnster is going in as Diva. Diva is an interesting choice. When it comes to tanks, Diva's probably the least played tank. I don't know. I'm not sure whether she or Winston sees less use in competitive, but I definitely do see a lot of Reinhardts, and both teams currently have a Reinhardt. Primal choosing to go with 2 tanks, 2 offense, and 2 support. A very cookie-cutter team happening right there. Also very straightforward choices for what classes those players are controlling. Let's see. Where are they? I mean, you know, we are we're 20 seconds in to start, so this might not stick, but I'm a little surprised at how spread out Sticky Rice is. They've got teammates on every single exit, including the one up there. But it does look like they are going to group together. I don't know. They're going to group together. We will find out. No, it looks like they're going to go on a 3-pronged strike. I bet they're all going to meet back up with the exception of Genji, who is looking like he is going to flank. I saw in the chat Kifs complimented their flankers, so we might be able to see whether there is a bunch of flanking going on from the point of view of the offense. Khan doing a very good job of going in there and getting damage done without dying, is able to get out with his life. But with the exception of him, nobody really pushing in there that hard. The offense seeming to be pretty content with hanging back here and waiting. And you see Sticky Rice is getting some damage around that corner as Zenyatta. Lickitung not having any of that. I'm wondering about Lickitung playing Pharah. Pharah is a very powerful character, of course, but I don't think Pharah has been as successful against this team as normal, mainly due to how easily Zenyatta is able to just lay down that damage on her, just give her the Discord Orb, and then just hit her over and over with these undodgeable little orbs. But I mean, considering Lickitung is still powerful against 5 out of the 6 classes, really 6 out of the 6 if she can get the drop on Zenyatta, probably still an advantage. And there we do have the sound barrier in from Lucio being played by Gojiro. Kifs has her revive ready, and if she does use it, Gojiro just met his maker. Khan is in with the ultimate, but is respawning, so is not going to be in the game. He's not going to be in the game for another few seconds. And are we pausing the game? Jeraziah just left, and I see the members of Sticky Rice are asking to leave, so it looks like we're going to end that match and restart it for some reason. Oh dear. Well, that is probably all for that game. Get the feeling we're going to be playing more. We shall see.